week and it's not even over yet. I hope you're having a good one. I have so much to talk with you about this morning. It is a lot, and I hope that you're ready. Let's get into it. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. And also, if you go into the description of this live stream, you will see the link to go over to my Substack. I do a live stream every morning, Monday through Friday, here on YouTube live. And then I also do a live stream on Substack in the evenings, Monday through Friday. So I hope that you join me over there as well, not only for live streams, but also for long form content and just having fun with you guys and chatting about all of the day's news and just keeping up with what's going on with you in your world as well. Let's get started because there is so much to cover this morning. And when I say that, I mean like there's so much, and not just from the day's news, but also from my emails. They're like, but her emails. Yes, but my emails. All right, so let's get started with this morning. I'm going to go over here and try to give you the whole screen because I'm in the way. All right, so Michelle Obama breaks her silence on why she skipped Trump's inauguration and the moment she made the decision. I wanted to go into this because a lot of people have speculated that she is, hey Vivian, how are you? That she is like divorcing Barack Obama, and she was basically like setting the record straight. And I wanted to show you what the quote was that really, really spoke to me. And I think a lot of people have yet to kind of get their heads around the fact that like she's her own person and she doesn't always have to be by the side of Barack Obama at every waking moment. So I wanted to show you, this is a quote from one of the podcasts that she was doing. And I think it was with an actress, and I'm forgetting the woman's name right now. But it says here, the quote, I want our daughters, I want the young women out there, I want my girls to start practicing different strategies for saying no. She continued, quote, after all that I've done in this world, I'm still showing them that I have, excuse me, I'm trying to move this chair, that I have to keep. I still have to show people that I love my country, that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm always setting, what does it say? Setting, going high all the time, even in the face of a lot of hypocrisy and contradiction. All I'm doing is keeping that crazy bar that our mothers and grandmothers set for us. Now, if you haven't had a chance to listen to the podcast that this is from, and I think I don't remember the name of it, but there's quotes everywhere this morning and yesterday about this specific issue with Michelle Obama and how she decided she wasn't going to do what other people thought was right, that she was going to do what was right for her. And I think that is so important for a lot of people to understand that she was doing a lot of stuff that she probably wouldn't have done while she was first lady. And I know a lot of people might contradict this and say, oh my gosh, but it's such an honor to be the first lady. My mom and I were talking about this last night, and we were talking about how people immediately speculated that she was going to divorce Barack Obama because she didn't go to the inauguration. But no one questions whether or not Melania is divorcing President Trump when she doesn't show up for stuff. They just assume she's her own person. So why would we have to have this other standard for Michelle Obama if she decides that she doesn't want to attend the inauguration of somebody who has criticized and ridiculed her up and down for years? Why would we hold her to another standard? Now I know why. But I just think that this is one of the things, when she brought that up last night, my mom is so brilliant to say, well, nobody says Melania is divorcing President Trump when she doesn't show up to the White House for some random event. No, nobody says this. Hey, Stryker, I think it's Vaughn, or is it Vaughn Kelly? I love your name. How is Australia doing this morning? Vivian, yes, I saw this and I was just like, good for her. I don't know how many of you have listened to this podcast. I know it's the last woman, the woman's last name that she was talking to was Henson, and I know she's a very famous actress. Let me try to Google it really quickly. Um, Henson. Taraji P. Henson. So she's on it with Taraji P. Henson. So if you have a chance to look it up, she talks about what's right for her, not what other people think is doing the right thing. And I think that just being able to say no is important. Being able to not just be like, okay, I'll go along because everybody thinks I should. Sean Kelly Jr., how are you? I mean, there were a ton of rumors about Barack and Jennifer floating around at the time. Absolutely. So what? That's kind of what I say to that, because I know that we are nowhere in their inner circle. I don't know anything that she is doing on a daily basis unless she is publicizing what that is. I think that there are a lot of people who come at her for her just being her for no other reason than her existing. And I don't think that that is right. Now, obviously, she's dispelling the rumors by stating on the record, no, we are not getting divorced. But I also think she is standing up for what she thinks in this era that she's going through, that this is her new normal, right? That she doesn't have to be a yes woman for anybody at all. We also forget that, like, they've been together for how many years? like there are a lot of couples who just interact in a different way than maybe you and I would think that a relationship should be, and this is their interaction right now. I don't remember who it was. A famous actress, black actress, who has a political figure husband. They don't even live in the same house. They don't even reside in the same house, let alone, I mean, neither do Melania and Donald right now. Like half the time they're not in the same house either. So either way, I wanted to bring this up because the idea that she is putting forward is that she doesn't have to do what you and I believe might be the right thing to do because she's doing what's right for her. Anyways, you can leave a comment below. This is the quote if you want to at least try to look at it on a paused screenshot. That's what it is. Let's go over to something else. This is Blue Sky. Obviously, we're on YouTube Live right now, but a lot of people have gone from Twitter over to Blue Sky. And I saw this, so I took a screenshot last night because a lot of people are kind of done with being verified. So when Twitter became X and X basically took the blue check mark away and said, now you have to pay for it, Blue Sky is sending this essential kind of explanation as to why they are or how they are creating the blue check mark for the Blue Sky active users. Okay, so let me just show you what it says down here. Try to get out of the way. I can't really see over all of the comments. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but basically they're talking about who can be verified. They're proactively verifying notable and authentic accounts, and they give this the New York Times as their sort of example. And I'm not sure what you guys think about blue check marks anymore. Like, do they even matter? Should we be looking at blue check marks to go, oh, okay, let's follow that guy because he's been authenticated? Because the blue check mark kind of got diluted when everyone started having to pay for it. Like Meta joined the bandwagon. And then everybody could pay for, we're talking about the Blue Sky checkmark verification. I know in the comments you're like, what is she talking about? So this is very interesting to me. In the comments, let me know if you would pay for a blue checkmark on Meta, or have you? Is it giving you any sort of advantage by having a blue check mark? Should we even care when celebrities or famous people have check marks? Like, I feel like a lot of that was, you know, being able to follow someone that you knew was verified so that you were able to follow them and think, oh, they're actually putting out something about their life that's true. I think that was the originator of it. But then when people got to start paying for it, I'm like, well, then anybody could have a blue check mark, and it doesn't necessarily make you any better than anybody else. It just means that you can afford it or want to look a little bit different than everybody else. Striker Vaughn Kelly says, when it comes to news sources, okay, so maybe the New York Times is a good one to have a blue check mark. Sean Kelly Jr., I'm with you, Vivian. I can critically think I don't need a shape. Bravo, right? So we don't always need to have this sort of blue check marked for us to go and follow the accounts that we like or that are giving us something: education, entertainment, inspiration. I mean, that's kind of the way I follow accounts. I don't actually go through and try to make sure that I'm following blue check mark accounts. If anything, a lot of the people that I'm following are not verified, and I guess, is that scary? I don't know. All right, let's move on because there is, like I said, there's a lot going on. I wanted to bring up this. All right, so this is the definition of eugenics. So a lot of people are talking about RFK Jr.'s sort of putting forth the idea of putting a list, a registry of autistic people together. And the idea of eugenics has come up because it sounds eerily similar to what happened during the Holocaust. So I wanted to provide this so that people understand exactly what eugenics is. If you start hearing this, being spread around as what this basically is being equated to, this is what they're talking about. All right. So eugenics is the study of how to arrange reproduction within a human population to increase the occurrence of heritable, I can't even say that, heritable characteristics regarded as desirable. Developed largely by Sir Francis Galton as a method of improving the human race, eugenics was increasingly discredited as unscientific and racially biased during the 20th century, especially after the adoption of its doctrines by the Nazis in order to justify their treatment of the Jews, disabled people, and other minority groups. So when you hear about RFK Jr. trying to create this sort of list, what is it called? This registry of autistic people, because in his words, they won't be able to date, they won't be able to go on a date, they won't be able to hold a job, they can't, like, he was across the board, like, they can't do nothing. Right? Which is completely untrue. But a lot of people are equating this sort of registry and its purpose of basically this eugenics. And I'm not sure if that's his ultimate purpose, because I have not read all of Project 2025, but it does seem eerily similar to that. Let's see. Your glasses are too large. You know what? I can take them off, but I actually have them on because some of this writing is so small and I need them. So maybe next time I'll try to find my other glasses. Maybe you guys will like those better. A lot of people love these, although they do say that I look a little bit like the little animated character from, not Animaniacs, oh gosh, The Incredibles. Tell me if I look like the woman where she's trying to get the baby a new costume or a new like superhero suit. That woman. Tell me if I look like that. Okay, let's move on because there's so many more. All right. So this is one that I thought was something we have to talk about. The baby bonus. Okay, I'm gonna get out of the way because you guys need to read this along with me. The White House has been fielding proposals aimed at persuading people to marry and have children, an effort being pushed by outside groups focused on increasing the nation's birth rate after years of decline. One such proposal that has been pitched to the White House advisors is a $5,000 baby bonus to every American mother after she gives birth. President says, sounds like a good idea to me. I have no sort of concept of where, number one, where's the money coming from? Where's the baby bonus coming from? And only after you have the baby will you actually get the money. But how far after? Does it have to, like, does the baby have to survive a year? 2 years? Does it have to go to college? Like, how long after you have this baby? Is it instantaneous? Does it go directly to your, like, direct deposit? And also, how many baby making factories are we going to have? How many just random facilities are there going to be where there's all these pregnant mothers having babies that will probably never see that money, right? All these people who will have babies, and it will be, what are the surrogate mothers going to get the money, or is the mom going to get the money? Who's going to actually get the money? There's so many questions. Okay. Australia has a baby bonus. Tell me more. Tell me more about this baby bonus, because I don't know that we in America are going to treat it like Australia, because Australia hasn't gone into decline the way that the United States has so far underneath Donald Trump. All right, paid parental leave for 26 weeks. Okay, now I think we have, you can take leave. You're not always paid. It depends on your employer, how much they're going to pay and how much they're going to cover. We do have, the fathers can have leave now too. That was a long time coming. But the paid parental leave is not that much. I don't think it's 26 weeks here in the United States. All right, so $5,000 tax credit might be how he pulls it off. Ooh, Sean, you are thinking. Okay, so instead of the bonus, because bonus does not mean tax credit to me. Bonus means give it in, give it to me in my hand, right? The other thing is, how are they going to determine this? Is it going to be young mothers? Because there might be somebody like myself. I am in my 40s. I should not be having any more children because I probably shouldn't, just as far as like we've decided two is enough. But what if this gives people the idea that they should have later in life children, right? In their 50s and 60s, right? If they still got ovaries hanging on, like in a uterus, like let's pop one out just for the bonus. Like literally $5,000 is not going to give you the amount of money you need to actually raise a child. So if they wanted to give people 30,000 for each year of their first 5 years of life, then yeah, I think a lot of people would take them up on it. But a tax credit to me doesn't necessarily scream like money in my hand. Even so, $5,000 is nothing when you're talking about like let's take care of babies, especially when it's like, I don't know, 2025 inflation. Like, anyways, all right, let's get to the comments here. $5,000 AUD when you register the birth. Okay, sounds good. Yes, but men get hurt and told to limp along. Yeah, what about the guys? Okay, so what if you give the mother the $5,000 and then she's like, I don't want to take care of this baby, right? And then the dad steps up to take care of the baby all by himself. Like, shouldn't he get the money? Like, I'm just thinking about all the people in court trying to fight over this baby bonus. Mufasa in the hood says, ain't no way. Stryker says, increase of young single mothers on welfare. It's not popular. Thank you for this information, because I would say that like I did before, $5,000 is nothing when you're trying to raise a child. And if it's just a tax credit on the back end, like, yeah, okay, they could reverse that at any point. Yeah, all right. So pass this along. I want you guys to chat amongst yourselves with like your coworkers and your friends and your family. Would you participate if you were able to get the $5,000 baby bonus? I don't know. All right, so this is something I wanted to show you. This is something I got 7:25 this morning. If you're watching this also, give this a like if this is something that you are enjoying and is giving you some information this morning, and share it out to your social networks if you find it to be exciting, fun, intriguing. But this is a message from Kamala Harris. Now, I don't know, I'm going to preface this so that it makes more sense. So after the election, she had a little sort of a form on her website where you could send her a note of thanks or a note in general about what you thought about the election, her campaign, whatever. So I sent a message, and this months later is her response. Okay, so it says, thank you for your message. Thank you, Sandra, for your kind note and words of encouragement. I believe in the promise of America, a promise of freedom, opportunity, and equality, not just for some, but for all. The road ahead of us will not be easy. It will require perseverance and hard work, but we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I am certain that together we can build a nation where opportunity knows no bounds and the ideals of dignity, decency, and fairness are made real for everyone. Thank you again for your support and partnership as we build a better and brighter future. We are all in this together. Sincerely, Kamala Harris. Now, what are your thoughts about this message? I don't know. I don't know what her next move is besides potentially running for president again, right? So there are a lot of people who are in the process of gearing up campaigns, whether it's AOC, Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg. Gavin Newsom, even potentially Cory Booker. Like, there are a lot of people, and I'm so excited that there are choices that are potentially going to battle it out, like during the sort of Democratic National Convention, potentially during all of the debates and such. There's a lot of people who are vying for that coveted nomination, and also for the presidential nomination. Tim Walz is still out there fighting for the American people. I think he's a great sort of vice presidential candidate. Let's see. I bet she takes a shot at being the governor. I don't think so. Okay, because vice president of the United States down to governor, I think it's a step down. I think if anything, she would, want to be the head of a World Bank, or, like a step up from the vice presidential, spot. Government making us a fool. Yes, indeed. Every day I feel foolish for believing a lot of the things that I'm reading, because they say one thing one day and turn on it the next day. Sean Kelly says, I thought I read she was looking at California. Okay, so she might be, but she just moved to New York with her husband, who took a job at a law firm in New York. So that's why you were seeing her at all these different Broadway shows and doing all the things. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to play out for her, but I did want to share with you that she is finally getting back to people who participated in that sort of like, send me a note, tell me how things are going, how you thought things went with the election. All right, let's keep going, because like I said, there's so much. All right. Let's see. This is one of the headlines from this morning. Vladimir, stop. That's the voice I hear from Donald Trump if he's talking to Putin. Vladimir, stop. Trump says he's not happy with Russia's strikes on Kyiv. So let's just put it this way. Zelensky was like, hell no, I'm not taking the deal because you just wanted me to cede Crimea to Russia. And Trump's over here like, don't bomb them. Oh my God, no, don't do that, Putin. Tell me your thoughts in the comments, because to me, this is so weak. It's so weak. Okay. And you can see the sort of sub-headline says, Trump made the comments a day after accusing Zelensky of prolonging the war by not agreeing to a US deal. Okay. So right now he's attacking Zelensky for not wanting to give, Crimea over to Putin. And then he's like, no, Vladimir, stop bombing them. Okay. Okay. Mean Gene, you won't stop reeing it till American boots are on the ground, huh? Okay, so I'm not sure how this is going to play out. I know that Americans do not want to be at war, but apparently, according to the Alien Enemies Act, we are at war already because he has imposed the Alien Enemies Act against, I believe, Venezuela. So apparently we are, in theory, already at war because they're sending Trendy Aragua gang members to us. But no, I would never want anybody to have to go on the front lines in Ukraine, especially when there are these sorts of the ability for the American government to persuade. He does not want to persuade. He just wants to sit back and watch people do this. Right? Because he's on Putin's side. So no, I would never want Americans to go and fight in Ukraine or in Russia. But I do think that the sort of ability for us to stay out of it, it's not possible as far as like what's been happening back and forth. If Russia finally gets a hold of all of Ukraine, they're going to go into Poland. And then all of Europe is basically at risk after that. So I think that while we all think it's great to stay out of it, I don't think it's going to happen for too much longer, because this particular man is not stopping this guy. All right, so moving on, because there's so much, like I said, there's so much more. All right, if you are loving this, and not the trauma of it, but just the fact that we're talking in the comments and talking on live stream, definitely give this a like, share it out to your friends and family and colleagues. I would love your support on this channel. Nevermore Sand says, you are smart. Thank you. I have 3 degrees. I hope that those actually are paying off in some form of smartness. don't even think that's a word, of intelligence. We'll put it that way. All right. Trump administration asks the Supreme Court to let it enforce ban on transgender service members for now. All right. So we were just talking about, do we want to be in a war trying to, bring peace between Russia and Ukraine? All right. So if we enforce this sort of ban on transgender service members, then we have less service members. And to me, I think that that means that not only will those service members, lose whatever their pensions are, or, their status, maybe even their health care. Like it's not just one part of it. Like it's like taking somebody's life away, the benefits, the service, all the stuff that they've actually contributed already to the United States military. So I absolutely think that if those members of the military are dedicating their life and, in service to the United States, that they should not be taken out unless by some sort of, charges that they've had while in the service that make them a danger to the rest of, the community in the military. All right, Strikers Van Kelly says, wasn't the WikiLeaks officer transgender? I think so. You are right. I think you wasn't. Oh gosh, the name was something I cannot remember right now. It was like something that made you think it was like. Hold on, I have to ask Wiki Google right now. Let's see. Chelsea Manning. Yes, I believe so. You are coming with the facts this morning, Striker Van Kelly. Okay. Mean Jean says, Romney said in their debate that Russia was our greatest geopolitical threat and he was mocked. You know what? He was mocked. Now, Mitt Romney is an interesting person to bring up right now because I haven't actually seen him, but we were just talking about potential presidential candidates, and he did run for president and he was not successful, but maybe he would be one of these sort of GOP favorites moving forward because, God forbid, JD Vance, I can't handle a trophy. JD Vance is going to be the hope of the GOP after Trump. I just can't. But I do think that Romney would be an interesting person. Now, he was mocked, as was Kamala Harris during her debate, where she basically predicted everything we're seeing right now. Yes, Chelsea Manning was the person that was known for, the controversy surrounding WikiLeaks. Yes. Okay. Sean Kelly says, you're right, Ed. Okay, so maybe Ed said it first. I'm not sure. All right, so this is an interesting sort of, the Supreme Court said no, I believe, and now Trump is saying, no, please, 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 let us do this. Now, I'm not sure if they're just looking for like a quick win because they've been getting so much backlash over the economy, over Pete Hegseth, over Tulsi Gabbard, over Signalgate, over JD Vance, over all of it, Marco Rubio, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, over all of the things. They've been getting all this backlash, the stock market, the market manipulation, and now they're like, please, please, let us have the transgender ban. I think they just want one win from the Supreme Court so that they can go, see, they think we're right. Yeah, that's just kind of what I think on this one. And she gets sources from a variety of sources, peace and love. Yes, I do. I actually shared my own source just a few seconds ago with my Kamala email. So I'm not just going to give you CNN, not always. Let's talk about this person. See, straight over to LinkedIn. Okay, so I don't know if you have heard, but Tesla is going to be the focus for Elon Musk from here on forward. Okay, so the reason that I bring this up is because he is a special government employee. I'm talking about Elon Musk, okay? And as a special government employee, you can only work about 130 days of every calendar year for or under a specific president, okay? So in that, he is supposed to be pulling himself back from this sort of government position and only kind of working 1 or 2 days a week, just kind of pulling that part-time gig, okay? So I raise you Amy Gleason. Where is Amy Gleason, who is supposed to be the acting administrator of US DOGE service. And the reason I bring this to you is because we have yet to see her. She originally, when they were announcing her as the sort of acting administrator, she was in Mexico. Okay. And there were a ton of articles that were talking about how she was part of the DOGE service that was kind of implemented during the Obama era, and that she was in Mexico, and she she never had a press conference. She's never been in the forefront, even though they're saying that, Elon Musk isn't part of DOGE. He's just a special government employee that's kind of handling the IT part of it. But Amy is the one that's actually in charge. So I went over to LinkedIn because I thought we can kind of understand more about a person through some of their different LinkedIn posts. Okay, so she does have herself listed as the acting administrator. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit more here. Underneath that, you can see she changed her thing from February is when she started this position. And she's been in it for about 3 months. Before that, she was part of the United States Digital Service between December and February. Before that, she was a chief product officer, and so on and so on and so on. So I want to bring up this guy, Greg Singleton. He is a chief AI strategist, technology executive, AI policy and deployment leader, and he has a LinkedIn page too. And the reason I bring this up is because he posted on LinkedIn and Amy Gleason actually responded to him. So I want to show you his post. This is from 3 weeks ago. Okay, so this is part of while she has been the acting administrator of DOGE. Okay, this is his post. I thought yesterday might be my last day with the government, so I took a selfie as I was leaving, and I was riffed this morning after 15 years of service. RIF is reduction in force. If you did not know, I want to make sure that that's clear. While I process that, I want to remember all the amazing stuff I've had the honor of doing. As the Chief AI Officer for HHS, we increased AI usage by 300% on cutting-edge applications like drug candidate discovery, counterfeit detection, and I can't read under this. I think this says protein synthesis, while also releasing rules and guidelines for safe healthcare AI usage. It goes on and on and on. And then you see his selfie. Okay, he's taking a selfie while he thinks this is his last day. Okay, he also says, as an executive leader in artificial intelligence and tech integration, I've seen the amazing things we can do with clear vision and inspiring leadership. And the good news is I can talk about it publicly. During this tough time, I'd ask that you keep the federal workforce in your thoughts. And if there's 1 or 2 people you think I should talk to, I'd really appreciate it if you could reach out and say hello while I find the next great challenge. Okay, this is his selfie on his way out. Okay, now I bring you the comment from Amy Gleason. Okay, now mind you, this was 3 weeks ago. She's in the position of acting administrator, US DOGE service. Thank you so much for your service and friendship. I have so enjoyed working with you. You did amazing work, and you always stood up for important things and people. I know you will do many more amazing things. Please let me know if I can help. And I just had to bust out laughing because what do you mean? Please let me know if I can help. You're the part of DOGE. You're the part of DOGE that's riffing people. And you are congratulating him because you know he always stood up for important things and people. But yet DOGE is firing left and right. People and their lives are being destroyed. It is crazy that this is the type of comment that she's basically putting on a LinkedIn person's profile. The other thing that I have to say is she's active on LinkedIn, but we haven't seen her in any sort of press briefing. I haven't seen her in any cabinet meeting talking about anything having to do with DOGE. Only Elon Musk. So when all of these lawsuits get to going, and they're accusing Elon Musk of doing all these things, and in the government filings, they start saying that Amy Gleason, she's the acting person, and she's the one responsible for doing all of those cuts and firings. Okay, let's remember that they have always said it's been Elon. They have always said it. And she is over here, trying to make someone feel better because she knows that they stood up for all people and good things and good people while they're firing people. Now, have I ever worked for the federal government? No, but thank you for asking. I don't think there's many more positions available to be had at this point. So, let's see. Newton Castle, how are you? Ask ChatGPT to develop you an investment strategy personalized to you. I will try to do that. Thank you for the information. Let's see. It says X is the name, but I think that's just a logo. It says the US is a mess right now. Yes, it is. Thank you for identifying this. Thank you so much. If you're just joining me on the live stream, I started 35 minutes ago. Feel free to later in the day or even after this, watch the beginning of this. I really appreciate all of your support in all of the views because I am part of the creator program on here. And so I do benefit on the back end, even if you're not subscribed as a paid member of my membership here. Mean Gene, I have private sector is much better. If they are as good as you are trying to convince us, they'll be fine. I'm not trying to convince you that they are good. I'm reading what he said he was actually responsible for being a part of. I wanted to give you that information because she, Miss Amy Gleason, has been nowhere to be found. She has not been held accountable for all the things that they're trying to attribute to her as an acting administrator of DOGE. And I think it's just kind of laughable that she's trying to encourage him while knowing that he has been riffed by the department that basically, I'm pretty sure it's by the same people that he's saying, I think it's my last day. It's just too diabolical to me. All right, let's go. There's so many, there's so many more. And I don't think I got to, hold on, this, this one, because we were talking about Elon Musk and DOGE. Elon Musk claims Tesla demonstrators are somehow being paid via the government's waste and fraud. They just don't want to admit it. Okay, so his argument is that the people who went out and protested, sorry, that is shaking, protested his dealerships, okay, the people who were in front of the dealerships and, were making a big noise about the fact that Tesla needed to go down. He's saying that those people are the ones who actually get the waste and the fraud. And the reason that they're protesting Tesla, is because they're not going to get the money from the waste and the fraud anymore. Instead of the fact that they just don't like him. They just don't like Elon Musk, right? They think he is the waste and the fraud. And unfortunately, a lot of times people project, right? Donald Trump has said, in the town halls that have been, taking place, that in those town halls, Democrats are being paid to show up to Republican town hall meetings, right? But they're not, right? Democrats, if they are, they're still waiting for that check. Okay. But basically, this is the same kind of projection saying oh, they're just protesting because they know that DOGE is cutting all the waste and fraud and they just want that. That's what they want. And that's why they're mad. That's why they're trying to take Tesla down. That's not the reason. They're not getting the waste and the fraud. And that's not the reason why they're protesting. They're protesting because they think you're a despicable person. They think that Elon Musk has done and said some things that are very inhumane, very destructive, and he was never elected. And that's the reason. All right, let's get to some comments because I feel like I've missed so many. Let's see. Striker says, the Commonwealth countries may appear fine, but we are allied heavily to the US and Britain at all times. Yes. And you know what? It's really strange because you mentioned the Commonwealth. So Canada is having an election. Okay. And I know that is it Carmer? I'm forgetting his name for Canada. He is probably the person who is going to win. And is it Carmer? Carney, I think is his name. Yes, Mark Carney. So a lot of people are going to be voting in this election for Canada. And I've seen so many over on TikTok, I've seen a lot of posts talking about the US and Canada are no longer friends. In their opinion as a Canadian constituent. They're no, they did us wrong. We need to stand up for Canada. And so that is very sad for people like myself and people who are supporting the democracy that we, pretend is like what makes us different here in the United States, to think that our neighbors to the north are so just determined to kind of pivot away from this sort of friendship that we've had for years, right? Because of one man, because of Trump. It's so sad. But Carney is coming in like, like a fighter, and good for him for standing up for Canada. Let's see, Mean Jean says, as a former federal government employee, I was forced to participate in a union. Our employees voted not to unionize. They had us revote, and not to unionize wasn't an option. Well, I'm not sure how that goes, because obviously the US has been known for, strong unions. I'm not sure how that played out as far as having a revote and not having that be an option, because wouldn't that be the only other option? I don't know how that went for you, but I'm very sorry that it didn't work out for you the way that you thought it would. Now, I am a member of a union. I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA, and they negotiate on behalf of performers, hosts, entertainers, dancers, singers, vocal artists, all the things, right, under certain contracts, commercial contracts, film, TV, voiceover, all the things. And I can say that as a member of a union, it's like it was very difficult to get in, although I think I was a union member by the age of 9, I think. And the worker protections are really important, especially when you're on a set that could be dangerous. I think that a lot of unions, whether it's like the local unions that are for like electricians that work on film sets, or the producers unions, or even like the directors unions, like I think a lot of that, especially here in Los Angeles, are very important, because when you're doing a turnover for like some sort of commercial shoot or even a music video shoot, like, and they have standards and practices for how many hours you must not be working in between the start and the stop of a shoot, or even the overtime rules. I think that a lot of those protect workers. So I'm hoping that if you were forced to be part of this union, then that's not a good thing to be forced into, but that once you were, that those union rules were helping protect you, your wages, your labor, all the things. I'm not sure how that really works as far as your situation. So it's been a lot. It's been 42 minutes, you guys. Oh my gosh. Well, so Mean Jean says, this country can't handle a parliamentary system. Are you kidding me? Imagine a party gaining control without a clear majority or mandate. Yikes, recipe for a disaster. I can say that the Trump administration is trying to, we are in a kakistocracy at this point. I know AOC and Bernie Sanders are doing the fight oligarchy tour. We are in a kakistocracy at this point, and I hope that we somehow, like the Congress, grows a spine and does its job as an equal branch. We've got the legislative, the judicial, and the executive. And right now, the legislative is not actually doing their job. If they were, and the judicial is like barely catching up to doing their job. If the legislative stood up just like this much, which in the past few days, there have been some GOP members who have said, this is a bridge too far, like the lack of due process for all of the people sent to El Salvador. And for a lot of the student visas that were just taken away, but then re-given, or the orders were to re-give them back to these international students who had done nothing wrong. All of these things, like the judicial is just catching up. The legislative has yet to do anything. Now, if they had just a little bit of a spine, we wouldn't be in this. But yeah, Sean Kelly said, that's a fear of mine, unchecked executive power. I actually saw a TikTok the other day, and it said something about if the Supreme Court can give Donald Trump immunity, and do with that what he will, just like they took away the sort of abortion right for a lot of people with Roe v. Wade, and how they could kind of overturn basically the majority of that decision, they can also overturn what they did with his immunity decision. So I am looking forward to that day when they finally go, I think we screwed that one up. Let's just take that one back. Yeah. It says your real dad is the profile name. It says due process for non-citizens make no sense. Okay, so let me just say, it's not me who says that everybody should have due process. It is our Constitution. And it does not mention citizens having due process. It says all persons in the United States get due process. So I would just say that revisit the Constitution for that exact wording. And that's the reason why so many people are banging the drum over this particular issue. All right. I'm going to head out now, you guys. Let's hope, says Vivian. That's a good one to end with. If you haven't already, drop in the comments. Tell me where you've logged in from. I don't know half of the countries or cities or states you guys have joined me from, but I'm so curious. I'm in LA, so you know where I am. But I'd love to know. I know we at least have Belgium here because I think that Vivian's from Belgium. So let me know in the comments. Leave a comment about whatever the topic that you thought was most important to you this morning, whether it's Tesla and Elon and DOGE, if it's the baby bonus, which we had someone from Australia. I know we had Australia in the house. Greenville, North Carolina from Sean. Yes, what else? The email from Kamala. There were so many different topics. I put a little bit of a description in about each topic that I covered this morning into the description of this live stream, so you can kind of look at those again. But I'd love to know your opinions on all of them if you're just joining or if you are joining on a replay. So like this if you found it helpful and that we could converse live. And I will see you again tomorrow morning. It's Friday, same format. I do Monday through Friday here on YouTube Live, and then I do Monday through Friday evenings on Substack Live. You can find my Substack link in the description. It's right there at the top. I hope you can join me over there for my lives on Substack, but also for long form content. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.